Today, we're going to take a look at the teachings of Jesus found in John chapter 14. And we're going to see that the actual doing of right and the actual avoidance of doing wrong is inseparable from belief in Jesus and love for him. So, what we're going to do is actually read 5 verses from a teaching of Jesus in John chapter 14. And after each one of these, we're going to stop and discuss it. This is John chapter 14, verse 12. Most certainly I tell you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also. And he will do greater works than these because I'm going to my Father.
Okay, so here we can see that Jesus is connecting belief in him with doing the works that he does. He's showing that they're inseparable from each other. If you believe in me, you'll do the works that I do. If you don't do the works that I do, you actually don't believe in me. Therefore, he's showing the importance of practical morality and why it's important, because if we don't have practical morality, we actually don't have the belief in him that he accepts. Okay, so now we're going to read verse 15 of chapter 14. Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments."
So here we can see that Jesus is tying love and commandments together. Again, they're inseparable. That's the important point here. So if you love me, you're doing right doing and avoiding wrongdoing, which is keeping the commandments.
Right, right. And here we can see that by saying this, Jesus is emphasizing the importance of keeping the commandments. Obviously, it's very important.
Now, moving into verse 21, one who has my commandments and keeps them, that person is one who loves me.
This is very similar to verse 15, which we just read, that Jesus is connecting again, keeping the commandments. He's saying that person is the one who loves me. The person who doesn't keep his commandments, that person is the one who doesn't love him. So if we think that loving Jesus is important, then we're going to have to also think that practical morality is important, because they can't be separated from loving Jesus or believing in Jesus.
It's interesting on this one, it includes one who has my commandments along with keeping them. So that, really emphasizes the point that, you're studying into Jesus. You know what Jesus's commandments are. You're actually taking a look at what, the life that Jesus led and what he did, what his actions were, and then you're following along with those actions.
Right, right. Okay, so now we're going to do verse 23 of chapter 14 in John. Jesus answered him, "If a man loves me, he will keep my word."
So again, here, keeping the word of Jesus, again, this is kind of going along with that same theme of watching and seeing, learning from Jesus, and then following suit, doing the same thing that he did. And again, we see that connection. Keeping of Jesus's word is a part of loving Jesus.
Right, and keeping his word obviously is, if you're going to keep his word, you're going to do what his word says to do.
Moving on to verse 24, he who doesn't love me doesn't keep my words.
So here we can see that Jesus keeps kind of repeating a very similar principle here to really kind of dispel the idea that you could love Jesus without keeping his word, that would be a possibility. It's not. If you love Jesus, you will keep his word. And if you're not keeping his word, if you're not keeping the commandments, if you're not doing practical morality, the doing of right and the avoidance of doing wrong, then you just are not loving Jesus or believing in Jesus in a way that's acceptable to him.
His words here, they're very deliberate. Obviously, Jesus is answering a problem that's out there. There are people who are believing and loving, but in actuality, it's not genuine love. It's not genuine belief because it's not connected to practical morality, to the doing of right and the not doing of wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's a good time to wrap it up. What would you say is the main takeaway?
Okay, again, even though many Christians don't see the importance of practical righteousness, the doing of right and the avoiding of doing wrong, keeping the commandments, they would say, or they do think, that they love Jesus or they believe in Jesus. But we can see here in John chapter 14 through Jesus' teachings that if that's what's going on in the Christian's mind, he's kind of disabusing them of that thought. He's saying, if you think you love me, if you're not keeping the commandments, you really don't love me. If you think you believe in me, if you're not doing the things that I do, and you're not keeping my word, then you really don't believe in me. You're not having that love and belief that Jesus accepts as genuine. And by showing the inseparability of love and good works, he's thereby emphasizing the importance of good works in the Christian's life.
Thank you for staying with us till the end. we invite you to visit our website, www.bdsda.com, to learn more about who we are and, just as important, who we are not. Please join us as we will continue to offer new and interesting insights for your Sabbath School studies.
And if you want to keep up with our new studies as they're published, we recommend subscribing. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on plenty of other podcast apps. Links for subscribing are in the description.
God bless.
Many blessings.